Have you ever noticed that right when things start going well, you feel a little unsettled? Like you're finally gaining traction, you're showing up consistently, maybe your business is growing, maybe your confidence is building, and instead of just feeling proud or excited, there's that quiet voice in the background. Can I actually keep this going? What if this disappears? Am I really ready for this? This is something I found again and again, not just in my clients, but in myself too. And here's what I've learned: growth doesn't just expand your life, it stretches your identity. And that stretch can feel uncomfortable, even scary. And we don't talk about this enough. We talk about fear of failure, we talk about mindset blocks, but we don't talk enough about the fear of success. Well, I'm your host, Shayla Wey. I'm a small business coach, leadership strategist, and someone who truly believes that building a business should help you build a life you love, not take over the one you already have. So today I'm diving into success anxiety and what it is, why it happens, and how to move through it. Because this is the exact work that determines whether you stay where you are or you step fully into your next level, personally, professionally, and as a leader. Well, what is success anxiety? Well, here's what I've learned is that most people don't actually struggle with starting. They struggle with sustaining. Success anxiety is the discomfort that shows up when things are actually working. And it's subtle. It doesn't always feel like fear. It often feels like overthinking, doubting yourself, pulling back when you should be leaning in, questioning decisions you already made with confidence. And as a coach, I've seen this pattern so many times. Someone says they want to grow, they want more income, they want more freedom, and they start getting it. And everything in them tightens. They stop showing up consistently, they hesitate on opportunities, and they start questioning their pricing, their message, their ability. And it's not because they don't want it, it's because success introduces a new level of responsibility, visibility, and identity. And if your internal world hasn't caught up to your external growth, there's friction. And that friction is what we call success anxiety. So, what are some of the reasons that this happens? Well, reason number one is your identity hasn't caught up yet. And that's that leadership. And so your life expands based on who you believe you are. So when your results start growing faster than your identity, you feel misaligned. And misalignment creates discomfort. And so I've coached people who are making six figures and all of a sudden they feel that imposter syndrome. They step into leadership roles and suddenly second guess every single decision. And they even start getting recognized and feeling like they're faking it. And it's not that they're incapable, it's because their self-image is still anchored in who they used to be. So maybe the version of them who struggled, the version of them who played small, even the version who stayed behind the scenes. So when life starts asking more of them, they don't fully trust that they can hold it. And this is where leadership really begins. Not when people follow you, but when you start seeing yourself differently. Because what I've seen is that you don't become a leader when results show up. You become a leader when you decide you are one. And until that internal decision happens, you keep shrinking back to what feels familiar. Now, the second reason is you're afraid of losing what you're building. And this is one of the most human parts of growth. The more something matters to you, the more you realize it could be taken away. And that creates fear. And so I've worked with clients who finally start making consistent income after struggling with their business. They build momentum in their business. They create more time freedom. And instead of enjoying it, they feel pressure. They start thinking, what if this doesn't last? What if I can't maintain this? What if I lose everything I just built? And so what I've seen is that the fear isn't about failure. It's about attachment. Because when something feels and becomes meaningful, you naturally want to protect it. But fulfillment doesn't come from control. It comes from trust. Trusting that even if things shift, you can rebuild. Trusting that your success isn't luck, it's capacity. And this is where a lot of people stay stuck. They grip so tightly to what they've built that they stop growing. Because growth requires openness, and openness requires vulnerability. Now, reason number three is growth requires letting go of old versions of you. And this is something I didn't fully understand until I experienced it myself. Growth is not just about gaining more. It's about becoming someone new. And that means letting go of old habits, old ways of thinking, sometimes even old relationships or environments. And even if those things weren't aligned anymore, they were familiar. And familiarity feels safe. And so when you're growing, there's this internal conflict. Part of you is excited and part of you is grieving because you're leaving behind a version of yourself that you've known for a long time. And I've seen clients struggle with this when their mindset shifts, but their environment hasn't yet. They outgrow conversations, habits, or dynamics, and they feel like they sort of don't fit where they used to. And that can feel isolating. And so what I found is that growth always creates a gap before it creates alignment. And there's a period where you don't fully feel like your old self, but you also don't fully feel like the next self either. And in that in-between space, that's where success anxiety lives. Now, reason number 4 is you're entering the unknown. And this is a big one. And what I found is that your brain is wired for predictability, not possibility. So when you start stepping into a new level, whether it's scaling your business, charging higher prices, leading a team, taking bigger risks, there's no past evidence for your brain to rely on. And that creates uncertainty. So even if everything is going well, your brain is still asking, is this safe? Do we know how to handle this? And what if something goes wrong? And if the answer isn't clear, it creates resistance. But here's the shift, is every next level of your life requires you to act before you feel fully ready. Leadership is not about certainty. It's about self-trust. And it's about making decisions without having all the answers and knowing you'll figure it out. Reason number 5 is you feel the weight of more responsibility. So what I've seen is that success doesn't just expand opportunity. It often expands responsibility. More clients, more expectations, more people relying on you. And if you're someone who genuinely cares, that can feel heavy. And I've worked with clients who say, I want to grow my business, but underneath that, there's a fear of letting people down, not delivering at a higher level, not having enough time or money. And so instead of growing, they unconsciously slow themselves down because staying feels manageable. Staying small feels that way. But the truth is that leadership isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more structured, more supported, more intentional. Because the next level of success doesn't require you to carry more alone. It requires you to lead differently. Now, reason number 6 is that you're breaking generational patterns. And this one runs really deep because what I've seen is that success anxiety is often rooted in what you've been conditioned to believe is normal. So if you grew up around financial struggle, scarcity, playing it small, not taking risks, then stepping into abundance can feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. And I've had clients say things like, no one in my family has done this before. This feels bigger than me. I don't even know how to relate to this version of myself. And that's real because you're not just building a business, you're rewriting patterns. You're creating a new standard. And that comes with internal resistance. And here's what I've seen is that when you break patterns, you don't just change your life. You expand what's possible for everyone around you. And that's powerful. Now, reason number 7 is that you're actually getting closer to your dream life. And this is the reframe that changes everything. What I found is that success anxiety is often a signal, not a stop sign, because when you're far away from your goals, there's no pressure. But when you're close, everything starts to feel real. The stakes feel higher, the expectations feel bigger, the emotions feel stronger, and that's where most people pull back. But what if instead of seeing that feeling as fear, you saw it as alignment? A sign that you're stepping into something meaningful, a sign that your life is expanding, a sign that you're becoming the person you once dreamed of being. Because your dream life isn't just built on strategy, it's built on your ability to hold it. So if you're feeling this right now, I want you to pause and ask yourself, what if this feeling isn't telling me to stop, but asking me to expand? Because this is the work, the leadership, the fulfillment, and the growth. And they all require you to move through discomfort, not avoid it. And what I found is that your business will only grow to the level that you do. and your life will only expand to the level that you can hold. So if this episode resonated with you, and if you're in that space where you know you're meant for more, but you can feel the resistance coming up, I want to invite you into something I created for you where you can join the LFG Business Academy on Skool for free. And inside you will get my mini leadership series, tools to help you step into your next level, and a community that understands this journey, because you don't have to navigate growth alone. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for choosing growth, because your dream life starts with the way that you lead, the way that you live, and the way that you grow. I will see you next time on the Dream Coach podcast.